formation of the anterior cranial fossa. Let's we talk about the middle cranial fossa. In this middle cranial fossa, first we are seeing the boundaries and the floor. The boundaries. Anteriorly, it is bounded by the posterior margin of the lesser wing of the sphenoid and anterior clinoid process, and along with the anterior margin of the sulcus chiasma. Same here also, anterior clinoid process and posterior margin of the lesser wing of the sphenoid, that forms the anterior margin. And posterior margin formed by the, this is the line, see here, this is the bone part, is called a superior border of the petrous part of temporal bone. Then next, posterior clinoid process, and the thin bony plate name is called as a dorsum celli. And other side also same, posterior clinoid process and the superior border of the petrous part of temporal bone. Anterior border and the posterior border. Compared with the lateral border, this is the area called the lateral border. Lateral border formed by the greater wing of the sphenoid and inferior angle of the parietal bone and along with the squamous part of the temporal bone. So these three bones are forms the lateral boundary of the middle cranial fossa. Now compare with the floor. The floor again divided into the two parts, central part and the lateral part. The central part is formed by the body of the sphenoid and the lateral part is formed by the greater wing of the sphenoid first and squamous part of the temporal bone second, and third one is called as the anterior surface of petrous part of temporal bone. So these three bones forms the lateral part of the middle cranial fossa, that is the floor. Now let's we talk about the parts. What are the parts? First is the sulcus chiasmatis. Behind the jugal sphenoid there is a groove is present. That groove name is called as a sulcus chiasma. When the optic nerve is crossing from the one side to the other side, it forms a chiasma. That chiasma related in this area. That's why the name is called as sulcus chiasma. Sulcus means the groove. When it leads to the sulcus chiasma either side leads to open into the canal. This canal name is called the optic canals. In this optic canal, optic nerve, ophthalmic artery and the meninges, these three structures are passing through the optic canal. Behind the sulcus chiasma, again one more projection part is present. This is completely elliptical projection part. The projection name is called as a tuberculum cellae. The tuberculum cellae, in the lateral margins, again the bony projections are present. That bony projections name is called the middle clinoid process. This is anterior clinoid process, posterior clinoid process, and this one is called a middle clinoid process. In this middle clinoid process, tentorial cerebella is attached. Behind the tuberculum, we are having one more depression part. The depression part name is called as the sella tertica. This part, the sella tertica, which is the most dependent part, we call as a hypophyseal fossa. In this hypophyseal fossa, pituitary gland is located. This is the area name is called as the sella tertica, deepest part of the body of the sphenoid bone. And when you remove this part here, when you remove from here, then you are seeing the two sinuses. Those sinuses name is called as sphenoidal air sinuses. Now come to the next is the dorsum celli. Here one bony plate, thin bony plate is present. That thin bony plate name is called as a dorsum celli. And this thin bony plate toward the two sides and both sides bony projections are present. These bony projections name is called as the posterior clinoid processes. So in this, from the dorsum celli to the middle clinoid processes, listen carefully, dorsum celli to the middle clinoid processes, one attachment is there. That is completely covering. This is name is called as a diaphragmatic villi. Means, for example, these my two fingers are the middle cranial processes. These are called as the posterior cranial processes and diaphragmatic. In this part here, completely discovers by the one diaphragm, that is called a diaphragmatic villi. From in this diaphragmatic villi to the pituitary gland is rises. Then next, after that, the posterior cranial processes, we have the attachment, one more attachment is present, that is called a tentorium cerebelli. Next come to is a carotid sulcus. Just laterally to the body of this sphenoid bone, we having the one more groove. See, this is the groove. This groove name is called as a carotid sulcus. In this carotid sulcus, one sinus is present. That sinus name is called as the cavernary sinus. Along with one artery is present here. That artery is a third part of the internal carotid artery. And this sulcus, carotid sulcus, lateral margin. This is the lateral margin. The lateral margin near to the foramina lacerum. In this space, it's showing one tongue-shaped projection. The tongue-shaped projection name we called as a lingula. Hope we completed the carotid sulcus. Now come to the superior orbital fissure. See, it is a triangular-shaped fissure. It is connecting the middle cranial fossa with the orbit. Connecting the middle cranial fossa with the orbit. So this fissure, superior orbital fissure, boundaries, above it is bounded by the lesser wing of the sphenoid, below it is bounded by the greater wing of the sphenoid, and medially it is bounded by the body of the sphenoid. And sir, here the one canal is there. That canal name is called the optic canal. I am drawing here, see same. This is our superior orbital fissure, and this is called the optic canal. And one common tendinous ring. One common tendinous ring is divided the superior orbital fissure into the lateral part, middle part, and the medial part. See here. Lateral part, middle part, and medial part. So few structures are passing through these parts. Those are the, remember here, one mnemonic: I slept one night and left for Tokyo. I slept one night and left for Tokyo. I, inferior ophthalmic, in the middle part. I am talking about in the middle part, two structures are passing. Inferior ophthalmic vein along with the sympathetic pix, it is surrounding the artery. Present in the middle part. And middle part, three structures are passes. 1, 2, 3. Oculomotor nerve, nasociliary nerve, and the abducens nerve. The oculomotor again divided into the upper and the lower. Upper oculomotor nerve and the lower oculomotor nerve, nasociliary nerve, and the abducens nerve. And the most lateral part, where three structures are present: lacrimal, frontal, and the trochlea. Lacrimal, frontal, trochlea, along with one vein. Here is the inferior ophthalmic vein. Here is the superior ophthalmic vein. Along with meningeal artery and the lacrimal artery. All the structures are passing through the superior orbital fissure. Again I repeat it. The superior orbital fissure divided into the three parts by the one common tendinous ring. That ring is encirculated the optic canal also. This is the medial part, middle part, and the lateral part. Medial part is the two structures that passes, that is called the inferior ophthalmic vein and the sympathetic pix. And the middle part, oculomotor nerve, nasociliary nerve, and the abducens nerve. And most lateral part, lacrimal, frontal, and the trochlea. Along with, we have the superior ophthalmic and the lateral artery and the middle meningeal artery. Middle meningeal artery. These are structures passing through the superior orbital fissure. Behind the superior orbital fissure, in the greater wing of the sphenoid bone, another foramina is present. This foramina name is called as a foramina rotandum. Here is the foramina rotandum. In this foramina rotandum, it connects in the middle cranial fossa with the pterygopalatine fossa. This foramina rotandum connecting the middle cranial fossa with the pterygopalatine fossa. Only one structure is processed, that is called a maxillary nerve. After we completing the foramina rotandum, the next foramina is foramina ovale, foramina spinosum, and foramina basalis, foramina innominate, and foramina lacerum. This all we are seeing in the norma basalis. Again, we are seeing in the middle cranial fossa. So here, the superior orbital fissure is connecting the middle cranial fossa with the orbit. Second one, foramina rotandum connecting the middle cranial fossa with the pterygopalatine fossa. And third is the rest of all the foraminas connecting the middle cranial fossa with the infratemporal fossa. First we are seeing about the foramina ovale. It is a oval shape. It is present in the posterolaterally to the foramina rotandum. For example, this is foramina rotandum. Here is the posterolaterally the foramina ovale. In this foramina ovale, male structures are passes. M-A-L-E, male, mandibular nerve, accessory meningeal artery, lesser petrosal nerve, and the emissary vein. These structures are passing through the foramina ovale. Then next is again posterolaterally, one more foramina is present. Means posterolaterally to the foramina ovale, another foramina, the name is called as the foramina spinosum. It is also connecting the middle cranial fossa with the infratemporal fossa. From in this foramina, few structures are passed, that is called M and N. M and N. Middle meningeal artery, nervus spinosus, middle meningeal vein. These three structures passing through the here. Come to next foramina, foramina basalis. It is not always present, it is an inconstant. If it is present between the foramina rotandum and the foramina ovale. Here the foramina basalis is present. If it is present, one vein is passes, that is called an emissary vein. Then next, foramina innominate. There is a no name. It is also inconstant foramina. If it is present, it is present between the foramina ovale and the foramina spinosum. In this one, only one nerve is passes. That nerve name is called as a lesser petrosal nerve. Lastly, we are seeing the foramina lacerum. This is the foramina lacerum. Foramina lacerum means the irregular shape. The foramina is irregular in shape. It is present between the body of the sphenoid and the apex of the petrous part of temporal bone. This is completely name is called the apex of the petrous part of temporal bone. There is a one foramina is present. That foramina name is called foramina lacerum. Two canals are opening in this foramina lacerum. One is the carotid canal and the pterygoid canal. Only two structures are passing through this one. Only two structures are passing this foramina. Those structures are ascending pharyngeal artery and the emissary vein. And in this part, two nerves are united, forms the one more nerve. That nerve name is called a median nerve. And again, which are the structures are in the carotid canal. Those structures are crossing in the transversely, that is the carotid artery in this foramina lacerum. This is about the foramina lacerum. Next come to about the anterior surface of the petrous part of temporal bone. Because anterior surface completing the middle cranial fossa, posterior surface completing the posterior cranial. We talk about only anterior surface of the petrous part of temporal bone. This is apex. In this apex, here it is showing the one impression. That impression name, the depression name is called as a trigeminal impression. Here is a trigeminal ganglion is present. The location of the trigeminal ganglia. Laterally to this impression, when one limitation is present. That limitation is a limit of the trigeminal impression. Still more laterally. See, still more laterally. Again, it is formed above the roof of the internal acoustic meatus. This is the external acoustic meatus, and this is the internal acoustic meatus. The roof of the internal acoustic meatus again formed by the one more impression. Again formed by the one more impression. It is a depression only. There is no special name. It is formed by the roof of the internal acoustic meatus. Still more laterally, here in this place, we are seeing the one prominence, that is called as the arcuate eminences. Arcuate eminences. Still laterally, here is a thin bony plate between the squamous part of the temporal bone and the petrous part of the temporal bone. Here in this place, we are seeing the one thin bony plate. That plate name is called a tegmoid tympani. It is a tegmoid tympani. It forms the roof of the mastoid egg cells, mastoid antrum. Again, I repeat from the medial to the lateral side. First, near the apex, in the anterior surface of the petrous part of the temporal bone, near the apex, we are showing the one impression. That impression for the trigeminal ganglion. Still laterally, we are having the one limit, one ridge is present. Then next we have again one depression. The depression forms by the roof of the infratemporal internal acoustic meatus. Still laterally, we are seeing the one more depression. That is it forms the roof of the internal acoustic meatus. Then again laterally, we are seeing the one elevation. That is called eminences. The eminence name is called arcuate eminences. This arcuate eminence is formed by the internal ear semicircular canals forms this arcuate eminences. Still laterally, between the anterior surface of this part and the squamous part of the temporal bone, there is a one thin bony plate is present. That thin bony plate name is called a tegmoid tympani. It forms the roof of the mastoid antrum. Again, from in this place, arcuate eminence is to one groove going towards the foramina lastum, one groove going towards the foramina ovale. From in this groove, superior petrosal nervus passes, and in this groove, lesser petrosal nervus passes. So this nerve is reached to the foramina lastum, and this nerve is reached to the foramina ovale. And lastly, the thin part, the name is called as the superior border of the petrous part of temporal bone. So in this part, it is showing one groove, small groove. On that groove, the sinus is present. That sinus name is called as superior petrosal sinus. And here is one more attachment, that is called as tensorium cerebelli.
Now medial cranial fossa. The medial cranial fossa, we see the boundaries here. First is the anterior boundary formed by the posterior border of the petrous part of temporal bone, and this is called as a anterior clinoid process and the sulcus chiasma. Same here also, anterior clinoid process and posterior border of the petrous part of temporal bone. The posterior boundary formed by the superior border of the petrous part of temporal bone, and this is the square shaped plate. The plate name is called as a diaphragmatic celli. Above the square shaped plate, we are seeing the two bony projections. This projection's name is called a posterior clinoid process. Means posterior boundary formed by the superior border of the petrous part of temporal bone and the dorsum celli, and posterior clinoid processes. Same in the opposite also. And laterally, it is formed by the inferior angle of the parietal bone, squamous part of the temporal bone, and the greater wing of the sphenoid. These three bones forms the lateral margin of the middle cranial fossa. Let's we talk about the floor, how the floor is formed. This is the floor and this one also. The middle area, the central area formed by the body of the sphenoid, and the lateral area is formed by the greater wing of the sphenoid. This is called the greater wing of the sphenoid and squamous part of the temporal bone and anterior surface of the petrous part of temporal bone. This complete bone name is called the petrous part. This anterior surface, posterior surface, superior border. Anterior surface of the petrous part of temporal bone. First we see about the features of the middle cranial fossa. Here the one groove is there, pen mark. It is behind the jugular spinatus. That groove name is called as a sulcus chiasma. Here both optic nerves are crosses from here and here. It forms a one egg-shaped structure that is called as a chiasma, sulcus chiasma. This sulcus chiasma leads to the opening into the optic canal. See, this is the optic canal. Optic canal connecting the middle cranial fossa with the orbit. So in this optic canal, optic nerve and ophthalmic artery and the meninges, three structures are passing through this optic canal. Behind the sulcus, again we are seeing the one bony elevation. See, this is the bony elevation we call as a tuber celli. In this tuber celli, laterally two more bony projections are present. That bony projections name is called as a middle clinoid processes. In this middle cranial process, tentorium cerebelli is attached. Behind that part, again we are seeing the most depressed part, the most depressing part or hollow part we call as a sella turcica. In this sella turcica, which is the deepest part, we call as a fossa. That fossa name is called as a hypophyseal fossa. When we remove this part in the bony part here, then we are seeing the two sinuses. Those are called as sphenoidal air sinuses. Next is the behind that is the bony square shape bony plate is there. See properly, bony plate. This is the bony plate. The bony plate name is called as a dorsum celli. It is square bony plate, and superiorly there is a two bony projections are there. We call as a posterior clinoid processes. And here the diaphragmatic celli attached from the here to the middle clinoid process like a diaphragm. It completely covering the pituitary gland. So the infundibulum of the pituitary gland, it piercing the diaphragm. Infundibulum of the pituitary gland, it piercing the diaphragm, then it is come outside. So from in this place to the here, we are having the diaphragmatic celli is attached. Again here in the posterior clinoid processes, we are having the tentorium cerebelli is attached. Just laterally to this body, this is the completely body. Laterally to the body, see here the pen mark is there. Here also there. This is name is called as a carotid sulcus. This carotid sulcus, in the sulcus, one sinus is located. That sinus name is called as a cavernary sinus, along with the third part of the internal carotid artery also present in this carotid sulcus. Again, the carotid sulcus have the medial margin and the lateral margin. The lateral margin in the down near to the foraminal astrum, there is a one downward projection. This downward projection name, the small downward projection part name is called as a, see here, the name we call as a lingula. And see, this is the lesser wing of this sphenoid and the greater wing of this sphenoid. There is a one fissure is there. See, this is a fissure. This fissure is connecting the middle cranial fossa with the orbit. So this fissure is bounded superiorly by the lesser wing of the sphenoid, inferiorly by the greater wing of the sphenoid, and medially by the body of the sphenoid. In this fissure, some structures are passes. Here is our carotid optic canal and the fissure. These both are covered by the one common tendinous ring. That ring is divided the fissure into the three parts: lateral part, middle part, and the medial part. This is superior orbital fissure and the optic canal, common tendinous ring, divided this part into lateral, middle and the medial. In this medial is the two structures: inferior ophthalmic vein and the sympathetic fix of the, these are covering the artery, and the middle part we having the oculomotor nerve, nasociliar nerve, abyssal nerve, and the lateral part we having the lacrimal, frontal, trochlear, along with the superior ophthalmic vein and the lacrimal artery and the meningeal artery. These structures are passing through the superior orbital fissure. Then behind the superior orbital fissure, again we have the one more foramina. That foramina name is called a foramina rotundum. It is connecting the middle cranial fossa with the cere. Inside, my finger is there, the inside, that is called as a pterygopalatine fossa. So in the pterygopalatine means the foramina rotundum connecting the middle cranial fossa with the pterygopalatine fossa. In this foramina rotundum only one nerve is passed, that is called as a maxillary nerve. Behind the posterior laterally to the foramina rotunda, again foramina, this foramina connecting the middle cranial fossa with the infratemporal fossa. This is the infratemporal fossa, middle cranial fossa. In this one, few structures are passed. Those are called male structures: mandibular nerve, accessory meningeal artery, lesser petrosal nerve, and the emissary vein. Again, posterior laterally, still one more foramina. That foramina name is called as a foramina spinosum. It is also connecting the middle cranial fossa with the infratemporal fossa. Only three structures are passed. Those are the middle meningeal artery, nervus spinosus, middle meningeal vein. Now, sometimes, not regularly, between the foramina rotundum and the foramina ovale, in this place, one more small foramina is present. It is an inconstant foramina. The name is called as the foramina vessalis. If it is present, then the one vein is passed, that is the emissary vein. Again, between the foramina ovale and foramina spinosum, here small foramina is present. It is also inconstant foramina. If it is present, then the one nerve is passes through this foramina, that is called as a foramina lesser petrosal nerve. Now next foramina is the foramina lacerum. This is a foramina lacerum. The foramina lacerum is present near the apex of the petrous part of temporal bone and the body, between the body and the apex of the petrous part of temporal bone. Foramina lacerum means is the irregular in shape. Lacerum means irregular in shape. If in this foramina two structures are passes, one is the ascending pharyngeal artery and second one is called as the emissary vein. And along with two canals are opening in here, those are called as a carotid canal and the pterygoid canal. And one nerve also formation is occurs here, that is called as a Vedian nerve. Already I will explain in the normal at the time of the normal vessalis. Let's we talk about the important is called as a, this is the border name is called as a petrous part of the temporal bone, superior border of the petrous part of temporal bone. Here it's showing the groove. This is the groove. In this groove the sinus is present. That sinus name is called superior petrosal sinus. From in this completely area is covered by the complete area is covered by the tentorium cerebelli. And means falx cerebri from here to it reach to the internal occipital protuberance. From in this place to this area is completely covered by the tentorial cerebelli, and here the cerebellum is separated by the falx cerebelli. Here is the falx cerebri, then tentorial cerebelli, and below the tentorial cerebelli two cerebellar hemispheres is separated by the falx cerebelli. Then next come to about the anterior surface of the petrous part of temporal bone. Most medially we are seeing near the apex, we are seeing the one impression, that impression for the trigeminal ganglia. See, this is the impression. And this trigeminal ganglion impression having the laterally having the limitation is present, and this is called an internal acoustic meatus. the roof of the, again one more depression in this place, the depression for the roof of the internal acoustic meatus. Still more laterally, again elevation, see bony elevation, that elevation name is called the arcuate eminences. This arcuate eminences is formed by the semicircular canals of the internal ear. Still more laterally, the thin bony plate between the arcuate eminences and the squamous part of the temporal bone, this thin bony plate name is called tegmine tympane. This tegmine tympane forms the roof of the mastoid antrum or mastoid air cells. So again, from this arcuate eminences to two grooves, see, one groove going towards the foramina lacerum. This groove for the great superior petrosal nerve, greater superior petrosal nerve, and another groove is going toward the foramina lacerum side. This groove is for the lesser petrosal nerve. This is about the middle cranial fossa.